Hello everyone, today let's solve the problem number 570. Managers with at least 5 direct reports, right? So what the question states here, given an employee table, you can clearly see here, we have been given an employee table, right? So we have to find all the managers who have at least 5 direct reports. So just keep this in mind. Given an employee table, we have to find all the managers who have at least 5 direct reports. Just keep this in mind, right? So table, we have employees here. So we have been given column name, type as well as description. Here let's go with the column name. We have the ID, name, department and manager ID. So here ID and manager ID is of the type integer and name and department is of the type varchar, right? So just keep this in mind. So I hope this is completely clear. In this case, ID is nothing but this is unique ID of the employee, this one I'm speaking of, and name is nothing but here the name of the employee. Department is nothing but the department in which the employee works, and manager ID is nothing but ID of the employee's direct manager. If null, then employee has no manager. If null, then employee has no manager. In this case, John, see here, employee has no manager at all. So what we need to find here, again I'm telling, we need to find all the managers who have at least 5 direct reports. In this case, here see, write a solution to find the managers with at least 5 direct reports. Return the result table in any order. We can return the result table in any order. So the result format is in the following example. You can clearly see here. You can clearly see here, right? Just go through this one. So ID, name, department and manager ID we have been given here. So see here, output we have got John. So what they have asked us to do, we have already discussed this one. So here you can clearly see, we have to return, we have to write a solution to find the managers with at least 5 direct reports, right? We have John here. Why the output we have returned John here accordingly with the question? Because John, who's this one, manager ID is null here, but ID is 101. You can clearly see here. John, whose ID is 101, he is the manager of Dan, James, this one, Amy, Anne, and Ron, right? He is the manager of Dan, James, Amy, Anne, and Ron, right? So 5 employees. That's what we need to find here. So write a solution to find the managers with at least 5 direct reports. So John here, he is the manager of, he's the manager of Dan, this one, James, Amy, Annie, and Ron. So since John has at least 5 direct reports here, this one, only this guy has 5 direct reports here. So he is included in the output. We need to return John as output, right? So I hope the question is clear what we need to do, right? So they have clearly mentioned in the question, as well as they have clearly shown the example as well to understand the question, right? So I hope the question is completely clear and what we need to do is completely clear as well. So first what we will do, we will start with the this one. Let's start with the approach followed by edge cases. Let's start with the approach and then write the query, right? First let's discuss the approach. So here the first step is we'll be making use of the self join, right? So self join the employee table here. We will self join the employee table. Why? That's what we have to go with here. So here we need to count the number of direct reports, right? So we need to count the number of direct reports and we need to return the name, right? Return the name in the output. That's what we need to do. That's what the question states here, right? So that is the reason first step will go. First step will be going with the self join. Means self join the employee table. Here we need to count the number of direct reports. This is the first step. And the second step here is we will group by manager. Means we will be grouping by ID. So in the question, if you remember, ID was 101, 102, 103. So John was having 101, who was having basically 5 direct reports, right? So that itself ID. So we will be grouping by the manager ID. These are the IDs basically, right? So I hope this is clear. Here when I say group by manager, nothing but ID here, for each manager count the number of employees reporting to them. In this case they have asked, we have to return the output where at least the guy should be having 5 direct reports, right? So in this case, we were in the example, they had given only John. So only John was having 5 direct reports, right? So in that case, we were returning John. So that is the reason we'll be grouping by manager ID here. For each manager, we will count the number of employees reporting to them, right? So the third one here is we have to filter only those managers who have at least 5 direct reports. So we will be making use of the filter. So here, this is important. Filter only those managers who have at least 5 direct reports. So this is what we'll be doing. So these are the 3 steps that we need to keep in mind. This is the approach that we'll be going with. First step here is we'll self join the employee table. Then the second step is we'll group by manager ID, and the third step is we will filter only those managers who have at least 5 direct reports, right? So now we know the approach, so it will be easier to write the query. Let's start writing the query. Now let's start writing the query. First step is we have to select the employee name from the employee table, right? So here, let me go with the keyword select here. Dot name from employee. So as we had discussed in the approach, let's join the employee table to count the direct reports. So I'll be going with the join keyword here. Join employee. I'll just consider M, as I've already considered E. I'll go with M here. E dot ID equals manager, M dot manager ID. So this is fine. So the next step after joining the employee table, let's group by, we have to group by the manager's ID. Second step in the approach we have already discussed. So we have to group by manager's ID, right? Let's group by manager's ID. We'll be going with a group by clause here. So I'll just give here group by based on employee ID. We are grouping, if you remember, right? So E dot ID I'll give here. So final step was we have to filter the managers with at least 5 direct reports. So we will be making use of count. So you would have already thought about count keyword, right? When we have to filter, we'll usually go with the count, right? So we have to filter managers with at least 5 direct reports. I'll just go with having keyword here. Having count. Count how much. So here filter managers, we are filtering managers with at least 5 direct reports. Here M dot ID, I'll go with greater than or equal to 5, right? Equals or greater than or equal to 5. So I hope this is clear. Whatever query that we have written is completely clear. So let me hit the run button. So I hope this works. Let's see. So here you can clearly see the sample test case is getting passed here. So let me hit the submit button. So here all the test cases are getting passed. Means the query that we have written works completely correct in this case, right? So I hope whatever query that we have written is completely clear. For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.